I was about to start grade 8, and I was super excited. Mainly because I'd be seeing all my friends again, and hopefully, I would even get to meet some new ones too. Right off the bat, I met 2 new guy friends, John and David. This was amazing because I have always had trouble meeting new friends at school, and this time, I feel so accepted, so comfortable around them. I saw John at school most days, and spent the most time with him before school and during lunch. I thought he was nice, but I was wrong and disappointed when he began showing his true self, saying just the most disgusting things. He'd make jokes about me and David doing unspeakable things and expecting me to laugh with him. It wasn't at all funny, but what could I do? I didn't want to lose them as my friends, even if John made weird jokes. They were still my friends, right? Then, one time, John whispered something to David, thinking I couldn't hear it.
You should kiss her.
But I did. I heard it, and I was horrified. And the words, "No, don't, please don't," just escaped from my mouth. And John shot me a look as if I had made him uneasy. But I didn't mean to say it out loud or make things weird like I thought David was gross. But luckily, David later told me that he wouldn't have kissed me. Phew, I could breathe again. Everything was okay. We were okay for now. Or so I thought. It was a few weeks later when it seemed like John and I were drifting apart, but not in a way you'd think. He wasn't himself. And it wasn't like he was ignoring me. In fact, all of a sudden, he started being nice. Just a little too nice. Nicer than he had ever been. And one afternoon, at the end of the day, when everyone was taking their chairs and stacking them before they went home, I was getting up from my seat when I suddenly noticed he had taken my chair and stacked it for me. Huh? That was really unexpected. And even though I assumed he was trying to be kind, I was still a little suspicious. And then, just as I was walking away, a pinch! It was John! I was so shocked. What was that? I couldn't make sense of what happened. I just stood there completely speechless. I couldn't even look at him in the eyes until 2 days later when it happened again. I couldn't say anything. I mean, was this normal for friends? For him? Well, I didn't want it to be. He treated me as a joke. For the rest of the week, I made sure I kept my distance from him. Until one morning, when I was alone in the garden, reading a book, and he sat down beside me. And, of course, something had to go wrong. Was he going to talk about it? About what happened? Maybe he noticed the way I was acting. Somewhere I still thought we could stay friends. I focused on my book, expecting something, but nothing. All of a sudden, I felt a hand on top of my crotch, and then felt it retreat just as quickly. I looked over in shock, and it was him, John. I panicked and covered myself with my hands. He even looked confused, like I was the one acting inappropriately. My mouth was wide open now, but no words came out. I didn't imagine it. I know what happened. I saw it. And it wasn't just me. There was another girl walking through the garden at that time, too. I didn't know how to react or what to do. All I knew was how utterly embarrassed I felt. It was like I fell into a pit and wanted to just hide forever. Someone needed to know, right? But in my tangled mind, I couldn't say it out loud. Even if I did, I was worried that I'd be blamed for not telling someone sooner. For the rest of the day, I stayed quiet. That night, I cried falling asleep in bed, confused, embarrassed, betrayed, and feeling weak. The next morning, I was back in class, still rattled by what had happened, when I heard a knock on the classroom door. A woman asked, "Can I have Jasmine?" I slowly got up and followed her. Even though this shouldn't have made me scared, I was still terrified and all mixed up inside. When I walked into the room, I saw 2 other adults and the same girl who walked through the garden when John put his hand on me. It turned out that girl told another teacher about what she saw, and the 2 adults began asking me a series of questions like, "How do you feel? Why didn't you tell someone sooner? And are you okay with people doing that to you?" But before she could finish that last question, I almost yelled, No, I am definitely not okay with that." Then she stopped talking and walked out of the room. After a few minutes, she came back, this time with John, and asked me one last question. "What did he do to you?" It was difficult to explain what John had done, especially with him in the room. I felt uncomfortable telling the truth because it was embarrassing, and explaining to them how he had been touching my butt and recently my crotch made me feel like I was easy. But with some time, I did. Afterwards, she sent me back to class, and thinking it was all over, I walked back relieved and almost happy. But not 5 minutes later, she came back into the classroom, pulled me out, and said there was someone else here to see me. The relief turned to anxiety as I followed her to another woman. She was a counselor and asked me questions saying if I didn't want to answer them, I didn't have to. As much as I wanted to, I couldn't. I'm a very shy person, which is one of the reasons why I found it difficult to make friends. So I stayed quiet, even if inside I wanted to scream. After the questions, just when I thought she was done, she revealed, "We will be phoning your mother about this." My mother will know about this? No. I got so scared and began regretting even telling them about what happened. I should have lied and said he didn't, or just said I was fine with it. When she reached my mom and began telling her everything, I burst into tears. How would she feel about this? I was bawling so hard, my mom and classmates could probably hear me. After school, I got on the bus feeling like a mess. I couldn't look at anyone in the eyes or feel like I could trust them. I felt isolated. Once I got to my auntie's house, I just sat on the couch, waiting for my mother to pick me up, imagining all the ways she would react. Sadness, anger, disappointment. I held my breath the entire ride back. It wasn't until we pulled into our driveway when she turned off the car, turned to me, and asked, "Can we talk about what happened today?" I asked her, didn't the teacher tell you most of the story already? Then she took a deep breath and said, "Yes, I got most of the information, but I'd like you to tell me what happened." So I told her the whole story as best as I could without crying. From start to finish, I told her how it made me feel. I even told her how I thought she would feel. When I was done, she looked at me and said, "Oh, my girl, I would never get mad at you. Never." Then she hugged me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt better. Actually better. So please, to all those people who have been through this or are still dealing with it, tell someone. Not later, but right away. Don't feel embarrassed, shy, or scared. What happened is not your fault. Even if you have to, write a letter and give it to someone you trust. Remaining quiet will not help you or anyone else. I promise, with all my heart, others will give you nothing but the support you deserve. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you all are inspired to stand up for yourself.